Part 2. So yeah, about the bear situation. I'm choosing a man because I'm definitely afraid of bears, grizzlies to be exact. But let's get back into it. You have to pay for conversation. Y'all are not approachable. Ladies, y'all don't be approachable. 2, transactional, only wanting money. Always begging. Y'all be out here begging these men, sis?
No.
Yeah, I know, sis. Too much attitude. Most act like escorts. Y'all put y'all dates on social media and make men look like creeps. They do not like that when y'all post y'all videos about y'all dates. They are afraid of that you will get on social media and talk about them. Too masculine. Always looking for a man to pay their bills. Men are valuing themselves over y'all. Not worth it. No peace. Part 3.
There's no such thing as misandry, and I refuse to ever take that term seriously.
It's absolutely amazing to me that there are still individuals out there, specifically at this point in time, actually still in denial that one particular type of bigotry doesn't exist. Because let's be very clear, misandry is a form of bigotry.
At this point, it might as well be reverse racism or heterophobic.
Ah, yes. I'm really glad they brought that up, because those are also forms of bigotry. However, I would like to clarify, it isn't reverse racism, it's just racism. You know, despising someone based on the color of their skin. That's what racism actually is.
Let's start with the fact that the only reason that the term misandrist was even popularized was so that men could have a gotcha towards women when we're talking about misogyny.
Interesting. And even if that was the case, I would like to point out that it describes a form of hatred against a specific group of people, and I might add, based on a characteristic that they have no control over. So what exactly is not worth taking seriously about hatred against a group of people? But I understand it's much easier to dismiss it if you don't like talking about it.
One of the consistent asks for over 13 years is the height. Mm-hmm. And it's height, and it's also how much a man makes. Mm-hmm. What we have figured out is that when it comes down to it, it doesn't actually matter about a man's height. It's not about the height. The women just don't have the language to describe that they want a man that makes them feel protected. And it's not about the amount that a man makes. It's that a woman wants to feel provided for.
I'm about to blow your minds with this one, being a woman speaking out about this, but the court systems are designed to favor the woman and the men pay the price. Did you know that 85% of child custody cases are awarded primary custody to the women? We live in a society where the legal doctrine is based off of old, outdated information and the notion that, oh, women are the most crucial for those tender years. And I did not know this, but you can go look it up. States are awarded funding based off how much child support that they get awarded. So it incentivizes giving custody, sole custody to one parent, so the other parent has to pay. Did you know that? And a feminist woman will claim that they want equality, but they will demand privilege. They claim they want traditional roles until it comes to custody and child support. The hypocrisy. And when you're pushing a good father out of the picture, you're not just hurting the father, you're hurting that child or children emotionally, physically, spiritually. And don't forget, ladies, you might have carried that baby, but that father carries the blueprint.
I can tell you're a very closed-minded woman.
I'm a very rational and educated and intelligent woman, which is how I know that you're crazy and full of
well,
and what I'm telling you is this show, I want to get back to
there the emotion starts. I'm crazy and I'm full of
you are crazy.
That's absolute emotional abuse.
I think this show provides a really important service by bringing this stuff to the forefront, because it's like there's a lot of people out there that don't realize that men deal with this all the time, and that this is what's out there in the dating market.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
What's out there in the dating market, and it gives me an opportunity to say to women like you, and this is not out of hatred. This is what I would do with my daughters if they were behaving this way. I would be like, I'm going to bring you back to reality, okay? You're acting crazy, and the way I know that I'm correct is because you act like an unhinged lunatic. in front of millions of people. We can see that you are a logical contradiction machine and you live in la la land. You need somebody to bring you back to reality where you can like take accountability for your behavior and change that, and then your life will get better and then you will heal.
Well, I don't need to take advice from you.
To the women, I want you to listen to me very carefully. If you meet a man that has never checked you about the way you talk, if you meet a man that's never checked you about how you wear your hair, what you wear out in public, how you carry yourself as a woman when you're out, that man doesn't have the wisdom to lead you. See, some men lead with money, but ladies, you have to be taught discipline, self-respect, to always better yourself as life continues to grow.
I had a nightmare girlfriend at one point that would want to go outside with her jeans so low that her crack could be shown.
I've been through that.
And I'm like, yo, like, can you not do that? You're going to attract a certain amount of attention.
Thank you, sir.
Which will be negative.
Yes.
And then I will be caught in that situation.
Yes, right.
Now I'm going to have to fight some dude because of the way you're dressed, because you're not dressing in a respectful manner with a man. But there's also been other women that I said, listen, this outfit's not appropriate with you.
Yes. And they respect it. Thank you.
They respect it.
Yep.
Not to mention that we don't have a loneliness epidemic. We have a loser epidemic.
What we actually have is an epidemic of single motherhood where it's praised and single fatherhood is demonized because what did he do wrong? We have an epidemic of women who would rather put their butt cheeks on the internet on OnlyFans rather than to be in the kitchen and learn how to cook and clean. We also have an epidemic of women who pretend to care about men's mental health. Well, they have their link in bio for their spicy pages. We also have an epidemic of bitter baby moms who would rather drag the father of their children through court, have him pay hundreds and thousands of dollars, and only get 30% of time with his children while simultaneously calling him a loser for working too much, even though the court systems value the mother's home over the father's home. So they're proud to destabilize the father of their children and call him a loser rather than to maintain a healthy co-parenting relationship for their children. But yet it's only the men that are losers. We have an epidemic of women who would rather have men pay their entire way, pay their bills, pay for meals, pay for their hair, pay for their nails, constantly have their hand out because they're entitled. But then she'll actually dump him for the next guy that has no job, no career, nothing going for him because, he was emotionally there for her. We have an epidemic where it's cool for women to claim that all men are narcissistic and manipulative. We have an epidemic of women assuming that these men are going to come in and be Prince Charming because they've watched too many Disney movies. We have an epidemic of women expecting men to be equal to them, but it's only equal to what benefits them. Because we all know that the majority of women only care about equality where it suits them and will fit their lifestyle the best. We have an epidemic of where women want men to court them and be interested in them only to accuse them later on of love bombing them and being narcissists. We have an epidemic of women who gaslight men into thinking that they're happy, and they try to convince them that they shouldn't go 50-50 because the reality is that the majority of women can't even afford his 50% in the first place. But y'all aren't ready for that kind of conversation. We have an epidemic of lack of accountability because when she cheats, it's still his fault because he wasn't emotionally there. But when he cheats, it's still his fault. So no matter what, the men are getting blamed for it regardless. We live in a world where women will project their insecurities about being broke this and being broke that when really it's them who are broke themselves. So even courtship is out the window. We have an epidemic of women who will claim SA or grape or claim that he's if he even looks her direction. We have an epidemic where if a man says anything wrong on a date, he's going to end up on Are We Dating the Same Guy, where these women can slander men without any consequences to their actions. Oh, and let's not forget, even if you are a good guy and you show up and you're emotionally in tune and you're able to, give her everything that she wants, she's still going to dump you because the good guy is still boring. So, when you really want to talk...
And, there was a woman covering the various reasons why men don't approach women anymore. And I think she made like 4 or 5 parts. And we looked at part 2 And the fact of the matter is, some of that stuff is like you have to pay to get to know them, which is crazy. I just don't. I understand taking somebody out and, kind of treating them and say, hey man, let's go get something to eat. But modern women, the way they do things is very transactional. And there was one woman that said everything is transactional. I think you know what men mean, right? The way that you conduct yourself is like a street worker. In order for you to get like 30 minutes with me, I require a $250 deposit. You say dinner, but that's essentially what it is. It's a deposit. And I mean, it's like, God, dog, I thought I was looking for a companion. And when you try to force a man to do that type of stuff, your perception, like who you are, and there's some of these ladies, what they're trying to do is maintain, because it's what they heard. They're kind of jockeying for power in the relationship or in the situation, because they don't want to get taken advantage of. So they would rather the man be taken advantage of than them. And the man is saying, well, I feel like I'm getting taken advantage of too. So what? You're a man. Be a man. Go ahead and get taken advantage of. That's just how life is. Figure out how to fight through it. And so when men hear that, they don't approach. When men hear that, they just check out. Because now I know for sure, you just confirmed it, you don't care anything about what I'm going through and how I feel. And that's why you get men that are not emotionally vulnerable. They don't open up to you, and they just kind of keep to themselves.
There is no point in chasing women in 2026 and moving forward. There's no point at all. Because a lot of you guys, like I said, think it's about what you do. Yes, it's about what you do, but it's about what you do for yourself. Not about what you do for these critters. Alright, fellas? Because if you waste time, and time is one of the most valuable currencies that you possess. So if you waste time chasing women, I guarantee you will forever remain amongst the average. Alright, fellas? And what's the average? Somewhere you don't want to be.
Men, be honest, what would you be more excited about, okay? A date night with a beautiful, amazing woman. Or a night out with the boys. And I mean a historical night out with the boys.
Night out with the boys. Was this even a question? You made the question even worse when you said historical. History is going to be made on top of hanging out with the boys? Our names will be engraved in history forever. Like, do you understand the question you just asked? Do you understand what is about to go down? Stories that could go on for generations. Possibilities are endless. And you're telling me the entire group chat is gonna be out there? Oh yeah, it's over with. Like, I don't even remember the first option. Like, I'm just imagining the things we could do. The possibilities and the endless memories that we could pass down to our children. Oh man, this my boys, man. Send this to your boys and see what they say. Y'all stay safe, man. Order out.
Men, have you ever been talking to a girl and genuinely just like one day you woke up and you were like, you know what? I'm not really interested anymore. Does that happen? Has that happen? Do you just sometimes you're just like, you know what?
This does actually happen, but not for the reason that you think it happens. The reason why a man will go from being really interested in you, always reaching out, always continuing the discussion, to not doing that, it is because you are not reciprocating that energy. He feels like he's the only one that likes anyone in this whole dynamic. Because time and time again, he's the one that reaches out first. He's the one that continues the conversation. You show up with delayed responses, short responses that are not open-ended. You don't respond enthusiastically to him wanting to see you again, and you definitely don't plan actual dates. That sort of thing adds up over time, and even though a man will attempt to continue to pursue you over weeks, maybe even months, it starts to whittle down his confidence with you. He starts to really truly believe that you don't really like him that much. And you know, what is the reason for this? Why is he putting in all of this effort if you're not willing to reciprocate?
Yesterday I posted a thirst trap and it worked. Findshite swiped up on it, told me I looked so good, and I responded with something so lame and stupid, and it was such an airball. And I was like, God, I need him to post something so that I can say something to him and show him that I'm interested too. And then I was like, none of my hoes post anything. What's that about? And then I got thinking about it. When I post a thirst trap and it doesn't work on any men, it works on my girls. They are in there, trapped, ensnared, and they make me feel like the most beautiful girl in the world. And I got thinking about it. Would I post if my girls weren't there for me? Oh my God, it makes me sick just even thinking about it. And I'm like, of course they don't post anything. If their boys aren't gonna hype them up like that, that's so sad. Like, if you post a thirst trap and it doesn't work at all, that's so sad because you don't have your boys there for you. Oh my God, it hurts me just to even think about it. Oh my God, oh, I can't, ugh.
Ladies, when you start arguing with that man, that's when you're supposed to stay. Hear me out. I'm not talking about toxic relationships. I'm not talking about these little situationships that y'all like to find yourselves in. I'm talking about an actual committed relationship. I'm talking about a healthy, successful relationship up to the point where them little petty arguments start coming up. And Nicole, how do you know this? Because I'm a certified life coach. One of my specialties is love and relationships, and I've been doing it for close to a decade. Women are typically the ones that end relationships. Men end dating phases more, meaning men have better boundaries, in my opinion, when it comes to dating. So when they see something they don't like before commitment, they gonna put a nail in that coffin, baby. They are done. They are over with it. Women, on the other hand, have a tendency to make excuses, which is why I have a whole coaching session about how to date for women. But see, when it comes to long-term relationships, women have a tendency to leave when they're just not happy anymore, and that is good. But sometimes you do it too hastily. And you may be asking yourself, well, Nicole, why is this happening? This is happening because you are now seeing the next level of this person. It's not that their character has changed. It's not that their integrity has changed. It's just that because the blinders are now off, you are getting to see different aspects of him. You're getting to see different elements of him. It doesn't mean that he's a bad person or he's bad for you. It just means that you have been invited into the next phase of intimacy. And the same thing goes for him with you. And baby, one thing I can tell you, when y'all get through this phase, y'all bond will be stronger than you could ever imagine. Because now you guys know each other on the level of not only love, care, concern, passion, right, infatuation. You know each other on the level of annoyance and aggravation. And you've realized that you can actually deal with it, that you can stick it out. You see where it's coming from. You have a better understanding of him. He has a better understanding of you. This is what you need in a relationship. A happy and successful relationship is not void of arguments. It is not void of disagreements. It is not void of him getting on your last nerves. A healthy and successful relationship means that y'all know how to get through the bad times and indulge in the good. Stay safe.
They don't want a man that don't make over $1 million a year.
They talking about
he 20 years old.
Do they understand how few people in the world make $10 million a year?
Nope. They don't.
Because when you say, okay, I want a man that's, let's say, over 6 foot tall, you're talking about probably less than 8% of the population. Well, I want a man that's educated, got at least a master's degree, maybe a secondary degree. You shrink it even more. I want a man to make 10 million. Now you're talking about 0.5%. So you want a man that's over 6 foot tall, that's educated, that's well versed, that likes to travel, makes $10 million a year. Now that man with all those attributes that you want, gotta want you.
No, but I want all of y'all. And that's what they don't understand. Like, they all fishing for the same dude.
Yes.
And the sick part about it is that, like, I respect the women that actually go get bread themselves and that are successful themselves, but they don't want to invest into no man that don't got as much as them.
Yeah.
So on the flip side of things, that's what it's come to for us in the position that we are. We're like, we got to blindly just trust that a woman really likes us and that we don't care. Man, when I meet a woman, I don't care if she ain't got to have nothing.
True.
We can go on Las Vegas Boulevard right now and wake up a homeless woman off the street. I can go take her to Miami, back home with me, put that.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
She'll love me for life. Boy,
Yeah.
you really changed her life.
Yeah.
But then you got the other woman that think that that's the entitlement that come with it because she used to dealing with a lot of successful men, but they never wifed her.
Right.
It was only temporary.
Yes.
Like, a lot of the successful men got some women that's respectfully not as beautiful as the women that as they side pieces, but they more thorough and they at home and they know where they loyalty lie.
Wow. It's I read somebody said it, I heard it. They say men want to accumulate money to take care of others. Women want to accumulate money to become independent.
True. It's sad, but it's true.
Because women will say, I'm not changing who I am, I'm a blah, blah, blah. Men says, I love you, I'll change.
Mm-hmm. See, but the thing is, though, men, us as men, we be lying too. When we ready to change, we gotta put the fine print. Like, I'ma change when I'm ready to change. So if you gonna wait it out, or you ain't.
Right.
And that's really what the reality of this whole situation is. But I'm trying to find a balance because it's like, man, Shannon, living in an 8-bedroom house, dolo. I ain't got no dogs. That's you got the dogs.
Yeah, I got 3 dogs. Yeah.
That's why it's kind of, when my most depressing part of my life is the holidays. When everything's shut down, when don't nobody want to work no more, and the studio, I got to give grace to all my staff that got kids and all. Now you just sit at the phone looking at matching pajamas and all this other bullshit. You want to cry. You sitting there drinking eggnog, crying and shit. You know what I'm saying? But January 1st hit, New Year's Eve, they back outside. We back to work.
So is it you can be alone and not be lonely. You can be lonely and not be alone.
True.
Or you can be alone
and still be lonely. I mean, I think for a large portion of my life, I was like, man, why don't I just I could just be Eddie Murphy from Boomerang. I just have a new girl with me every other day of the week.
Right.
Do whatever I'm doing. But that's still also, that's hard for work too.
Yes.
It's also draining. It's a lot of different personalities that you got to put up with and all that other stuff.
That's Code Shannon to get $50 in lineups after you play your first.
And there was a lady talking about over the years, and it's been a sustained number of years. Over the years, we found that women want a man that is tall, and they want a man that's got money, right? That's what it always comes back to. Well, and we really don't have the words to say we want to feel protected and provided for. Correct me if I'm wrong. It sounded to me like you just articulated that I want to feel protected and provided for. And I think a tall man is going to do that for me. I think a man that is financially stable is going to do that for me. How can you be in an honest relationship with a man if you're not even in an honest relationship with yourself? Y'all sitting up there talking about what you want out of a man, and you're not even being honest. Y'all don't want a financially stable man. Y'all want modern women a financially abundant man. Y'all want a man that is making over and above what you make, what your mama, what your daddy make, anybody. Y'all want him to be darn near Elon Musk, darn near Bill Gates money. That's what y'all are looking for. And most men, most people don't have that. But for some reason, y'all are out here thinking that I'm gonna find me one, and if I don't, I'll stay single. He's not gonna measure up to my standards. Y'all are calling that a standard, when really, honestly and truly, I mean, y'all are asking for stuff that y'all are not even close to meeting, and you're mean on top of it.
I don't expect anyone to live outside their means. No one should be living outside their means. Women who date men who live outside their means.
No, Cheryl, I feel everything you're saying, but once you get into a real relationship, once you get into a deep relationship and we've discussed finances where we at, if I'm taking you out, at some point it will just be nice and generous if you give joyfully and say, hey, I'd like to take you someplace you like. It can't be just one-sided 100%, especially if you know we're not rich.
Why would you? The thing is, if we have financial discussions and we come to clarity, financial discussions is discussions. We have a place. I know what a violation is, right? So if were those shoes a violation, what account?
No, that's not what I'm saying. But if I've been taking you out and being generous on you, you don't think you should turn around and then be somewhat generous in some way, shape, or form, whether it's cooking a meal, taking me out, or sewing me a new sweater?
How did you fall in love with a woman who's not generous, brother? How did you get married to a woman?
He's asking you, Cheryl. I'm asking you.
How did that happen?
That's what I'm asking you.
It wouldn't happen to me.
No, but you said you wouldn't pay for anything. So I'm like,
no.
So at some point, aren't you going to be generous if a dude is being generous to you?
So let me clarify for the people who only saw this episode. I'm amazing, right? I bring a lot into somebody's life.
No, but that's not what we're asking. I'm asking, are you ever generous? Or do you think there's a time for a woman to be generous?
What I invest, one, is not, I'm never trying to match my man on money.
That's not what I'm asking. That's not what I'm asking. I said, when and if are you generous to your
That's
other
not why they
counterpart?
dated me. But what I bring, they do not bring. With the charm that I bring.
What, are you talking about P-power?
No, listen.
Because of
I'm
course
the
they
kind of
can't
woman-
bring that.
listen, I'm the kind of woman and this has happened more than once. You bring me into a party with your boss, promotion's coming. Dinner at your boss's house is coming. I cook well. And when I was in a relationship, I had a pole at home. I feel all
that's
the
your form of
Wait, I'm sorry.
generosity.
Did I hear that right? I did hear that. Okay, cool.
I cook better than
I just want to make sure I heard that right.
Y'all, please stop letting hating men and women bully you out of finding and wanting to be with a rich man. There is literally no award for suffering. And being with a rich man is lit. Like, you're not stressed out. You can focus on yourself. You get to do one in a lifetime experiences. And worst case scenario, if you get played, at least you get a good return on your investment. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't.
I'm not throwing my self-esteem on the ground because a guy have money. A lot of these rich people are into some weird. And when you get into a relationship with them, they want to do a bunch of stuff to you. Have you guys seen Diddy? Huh? The that Cassie had to go through with that man and he had money? That's what some of y'all are going to go through.
Why does nobody talk about the fact that the economy has changed vastly over the last 50 years? I'm talking about 60 years. When we, from World War II, the auto industry collapsing, the housing bubble burst, COVID, the Great Recession, COVID. Why does nobody talk about the economy when they talk about dating, bruh? Why do we always talk about dating and marriage and all that in a silo as if it's just this isolated thing that is not affected by the rest of real ass life?
One of the most toxic traits that the majority of women have that I don't hear anyone talking about is the way that women will always apologize or tell the truth only after they've been told about the consequences to their actions. Let me explain. If a woman is only telling you the truth after you've threatened to leave, just know that it is a form of manipulation and a form of self-preservation. Because the only reason that she's supposedly being honest is because she doesn't want to have to deal with the consequences to her actions. And let me give you an example. Let's say you tell your wife or girlfriend that you don't want her having Snapchat, but she turns around and she's been having Snapchat behind your back, and you question her about it, and you're like, you know what? I'm not cool with you lying. I'm out of here because you have self-respect, you have morals, you have self-worth, and you're like, no, that was a boundary for me. I'm cutting you off. I'm never talking to you again. And now all of a sudden she's going to tell you that she has Snapchat, that, you know, she hasn't been happy. She's telling you that, you know, all of the things that are supposedly wrong in the relationship, and she's finally being a truth teller. Again, it is not to be an honest person. And this is where it gets twisted. When she gets into that next relationship and she starts telling the new guy, oh, but I was so honest, I was so upfront, I always told the truth, she leaves out the part in the situation where she only told the truth to keep her in this relationship or to keep her from accountability and to deal with the consequences of her own actions. Because is it really honest behavior or somebody that has integrity if she's waiting until all of the cards fall against her and not in her favor for her to be honest? No, that's fake, that's manipulation, and you shouldn't be falling for it. The majority of women are not telling you the truth because they don't want to hurt your feelings, or the majority of women are lying to you because they don't want to deal with how you might react. Okay, bye.
I was on vacation in Asia, and I was talking to this woman, and she was telling me about her relationship because she's married. And she is in her early 20s, very pretty, and she's married. So I asked to see a picture of her husband, and he looks like the definition of a passport bro. Very old, very overweight, very chopped. So I asked her, how did they meet? And she just said, I don't want to talk about it. So I apologized and I said, I'm sorry for asking. And she said, no, it's okay. Let's just say I am not happy with this arrangement. So I said, I'm sorry. I take it you don't want to have kids with him, huh? She said, no, but he wants kids. So I know eventually I will have to do that. But for now, I'm just not going to think about it. So I asked her, so how do you feel about all this? Like, this must be suffocating for you, huh? And she said, honestly, my situation isn't good, but the money he gives to my family gives us the opportunity to have a better life. So even though I'm unhappy, I have to remember that I'm sacrificing this for my family. But this got me thinking, how do you feel about passport bros? Because yes, on the one hand, they give money to families to give them opportunities, but at the same time too, that relationship dynamic it's essentially like a mail order bride. What do you think?
In life, you should always your unfair advantages. Life is not like high school or college where you have a professor watching over your shoulder and making sure that you don't cheat. Life is very, very unfair, and the people who win are often not, in fact, almost always not the people who played fair to get there. So you must figure out a way for you to also play dirty. When I was back at Columbia, there were so many beautiful girls who would spend all day complaining about not being able to find any internships. And I remember looking at them and thinking, this is so silly that you're even hoping that someone is going to pick your name from a resume pile of 4,000 while you have 0 internship experience and 0 projects. Instead, why don't you just with your LinkedIn profile picture go DM a senior PM at the company that you want to work for, ask him out to dinner or a coffee chat, and ask him for an internship when you're there. You know, that 35-year-old chud who only hangs out with his Indian coworkers, he's gonna say yes to the beautiful 21-year-old Columbia student who asked him out to dinner. You are beautiful. Just use your beauty. The world is not fair and it's not easy, and power and money in the world are not evenly distributed. It's not everyone gets 1% of all the power. It's some people get 99% of everything and the rest get pretty much nothing. So if you have an unfair advantage, then you should it, because life really is not easy for anyone. And when nobody else is playing fair, for you to play fair is to be stupid.
Man, he on this one. Always take advantage of what you can in this life. Never be unapologetic about it, and make sure you get it done every single time. You want to win or you want to be hungry?
So I asked my husband what type of woman he would remarry if I died, and he said, I'm not getting remarried. And I said, well, who's going to take care of the kids and the house because you don't cook or clean? And he said, if I get well over $1 million, I will just hire a maid, and the kids don't really need to be looked after at this point. They're old enough to take care of themselves. And I said, well, don't you think you'll get lonely? And he said, I won't be lonely. I'll have well over $1 million and I can just purchase escorts. I said, I'm sorry, what? And he said, I'm not getting remarried. I will just pay for escorts and a maid. I'll pay for a maid because I'm not going to clean the house. I said, oh, okay. And he goes, my only real concern is to make sure that I continue to make enough money to pay for escorts and a maid.
Once again, I'm glad there's some people out here or women out here that understand what men are going through. A lot of modern women are saying that men, they don't seem to be showing up, and then they start trying to diagnose him with some sort of, oh, well, he's avoidant attached or whatever other nonsense that you have going on. He's not any of those things, right? He just stopped messing around with you. Modern women get out here and they start doing and saying stupid stuff, and then they be like, oh, well, you know, I didn't text him. He's been texting me for the last 10 days. You know, he gets up every morning like clockwork and he texts me, and then he, out of the blue, he just stopped texting me, and he hasn't talked to me all day. I don't know what's going on. Is this some type of game? And then the deeper and deeper you get into it, you realize, and she says, well, he did mention to me the other day that he doesn't know if I'm interested or not because I never really text him or called him. He's got to always reach out to me first, and he wasn't sure about that. But I ignore that because, he's the man. Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. Y'all don't never really want to do anything. Y'all don't want to put yourselves out there. Y'all be telling. It's funny because modern women like to tell men what they need to do in order to be successful. But then when the man says, okay, well, here's what you can do to be successful, and men get a lot of pushback, and now you get to hear about how you're misogynistic.
So I just walked out on a man in the middle of our workout at the gym because he tried to play in my face.
Oh, brother, buckle up for this nonsense, you guys.
After the the workout session, he did express romantic interest. Do I know that men are attracted to me? Yes. I'm not stupid doodle dumb. But does that mean I'm about to be with you, date you? No, we're just doing the gym thing. I very much keep men at an arm's length and a distance at all times. But he was like, you know, if you ever want to go on a date, I am feeling you. I was like, I know you were attracted to me because, again, I'm not stupid. But I'm like, let's do the gym thing. I think this is good. I'm not really looking to, date right now. We're just going to be gym buddies. So we're in the gym today, right? We're doing our workout. Everything's going well. And then there was this woman that approached him. So I don't say nothing. I just kind of looked at her. Now, she did look my way and she was like, hey, I saw you. And I was like, oh my God, that's my dad. Turns out the woman is his daughter. Now, we had just talked about the daughter. I think the first time we worked out, we talked about the daughter. So I'm familiar with her. She's not familiar with me, right? So they're having about a 3-minute conversation. They chopping it up, as they should. But at no point during this conversation did he even look over to me or did he even say, oh, hey, this is my friend Sheila. We're working out. Simple. We're gym buddies. All you could have did was introduce me. But you didn't. So she walks away and he kind of seems like we're about to continue this workout. So which I got off the machine and I was like, yeah, I'm uncomfortable with that. I felt very unseen. Like, we are platonic friends and you could have just introduced me. Now, you did express romantic interest. And with you having romantic interest, you should have for sure introduced me. Which lets me know, like, are you hiding something? You ashamed of me? Because I'm that girl. What you gotta be ashamed of? What you hiding me for?
Ladies, I'm gonna need y'all to lock in because now it's getting embarrassing. Why would that man introduce you to his daughter? He's also not obligated to introduce you to his daughter. He told you he was interested in you, attracted to you, and wanted to date you. You said you just wanted to be buddies. Why would he need to introduce you to his daughter? If he was hiding you, he wouldn't be working out in a public gym with you. If he was embarrassed of you, he wouldn't be working out in a public gym with you. What are you even talking about right now? You walked out on this gym date because he didn't introduce you to his daughter. My man didn't meet my kids for near 2 years. Contrary to popular belief, everyone's not out here just willy-nilly introducing strangers to their kids. Like, he doesn't know what y'all are going to be. You said you're not interested in a relationship right now. Why would he introduce you to his daughter? For what reason did you need to be seen? You said, I felt like I wasn't being seen. You didn't need to be seen. You're what? Y'all are in a public gym. Everybody saw you. Are y'all okay?
I'm waving a symbolic white flag, okay, ladies? I know I've been hard on you for the past couple days, and I want to have a serious conversation. The reason why I am so passionate about this topic of women seeing men as human and not just the butt of some joke on social media is because I used to be like y'all. I used to laugh at all the jokes and repost the videos. I followed Drew and haha, men suck. Yeah. And then I was in a relationship with a man who, for all intents and purposes, was very good to me. And I didn't respect him. And I ended up cheating on him. And I felt terrible for that. And I didn't want to hide behind my emotions or how he made me feel or whatever. I had to put that on myself. I had to take accountability for that. I had to go to therapy for that. I had to realize that I was wrong and the way that I saw myself in relationships and the way I saw men was not right. So I started talking and really listening to the men in my life, asking them questions, trying to see how they see things, understanding their perspective, watching male content creators, trying to hear them out. And what they said made a lot of sense. And I realized that these women were not being respectful towards men in the same way that they wanted respect from men. And I didn't like that. This all happened with my brain fully developing, so maybe some of the girlies just aren't there yet. But here's hoping that one day you learn to realize, if you haven't already, that men are people too. Just like women can be bad, men can be bad. Just like women can be good, men can be good. And here's hoping we all get to that realization eventually.
Okay, listen, this is just a reminder that men are disgusting and they do not care about half the that you think that they care about. They do not care about the little things that you obsess over in your head.
We barely talked all day, and then I texted him. I was like, hey, do you want to call? And he just goes, can't. And I said, okay, we're good, right? And he just said yes. And then he didn't snap me or anything for like 4 hours, and I just sent him a snap asking if he wanted to like see what I was painting, because I'm painting. I was like, hey, you want to see what I painted? And he just left it on open. Like, I'm not forcing you to date me. You don't have to be with me, okay? Just tell me so I'm not like wasting my time anymore.
And you were? You don't get it. There is a darkness inside of me. It wants to get out, wants to walk around. It wants some walking around money, and it wants to buy some shoes, and it wants to walk up with the people and say, hey, Gator, don't play no. You feel me? Okay, they've never been about that. Never been about playing no.
I've been ignoring this for a while, but I'm gonna say it now. I'm all for feminism, fully. But somewhere along the way, a lot of you all forgot it was not about pulling men down to feel powerful. It was about standing beside them. Not above, not below, beside. And I say this with love. But the moment I use a male example to explain shame or emotional stuff in my videos, the rage in the comments, it's wild. Suddenly I'm defending men. Suddenly it's patriarchy this, patriarchy that. Babe, no, that's not feminism. That's revenge, that's bitterness. If anger and blame are driving you, that's not healing, that's projection. And don't get me wrong, I know the system's been hell on women. I get it. But hating men, that's not the solution. In fact, I'm just gonna go by my own experience as a coach. I get more male clients than female. These are men doing the inner work, unlearning shame, taking accountability. So if you think men are not trying, you're just not looking at the right places. I just don't understand the double standards. You get to throw tantrums and call it hormones, or this is just how girls are. But when he shuts down, suddenly he's a red flag. Like, babe, he's socially conditioned to suppress. He's unlearning decades of emotional shutdown. See, I'm not here to excuse bad behavior. No, not at all. But I'm here to say healing doesn't happen through blame. It happens through accountability, space, connection. You want better relationships? Stop playing team woman versus team men. Start making it you versus your pattern. Because we have got flaws too. We have got ego too. And healing starts when we stop pointing fingers and start holding mirrors. Not everyone's ready for that. But if you are, let's go.
Now, you hear a lot about unrealistic beauty standards, but you don't hear nearly enough about the unrealistic personality standards that women have to live up to.
Bingo.
Every time you turn on the TV, you see women in films reacting stoically, controlling emotions, staying calm in high-pressure situations.
Doing math?
Giving men the false impression that this is somehow what they should be expecting from a woman's personality.
Whether that's Kristen Ritter not wanting to talk about her feelings in Jessica Jones, or Charlize Theron's short, concise, data-driven answers to questions in Mad Max, I don't think these filmmakers realize or care about the harm they are doing by asking women to live up to those unattainable, emotional, and storytelling ideals.
I had a friend come up to me recently complaining that his date took forever to get ready. They missed the previews. Then she started crying as if this is some abnormal event. I had to grab the guy and say, Dave, I don't know what you saw in Girl with a Dragon Tattoo, but this is what a woman looks like without having her personality airbrushed by Hollywood.
That's why I so much appreciate what they are doing on The View.
Yes.
Personality, positivity, showing what a real woman looks like completely unshackled from whether statistics or evidence even remotely lines up with the points they are making.
I want to also applaud the makers of The View for just putting their raw, undesirable personalities out there, flaws and all, so men can see a realistic depiction of what to expect from a woman.
I'm going to say this with my whole chest and never change my stance. A woman's worthiness to be in a committed relationship should not be determined by what she did when she was single, when she was not in a committed relationship. If she was in a committed relationship and she had a track history of cheating, that's something different. But what a woman does when she is single does not determine how she's going to move forward in a future committed relationship. That should not be what a man is focused on. It doesn't matter if a woman has 100 bodies or 2 bodies. She can be a horrible partner with 0 bodies. She could be a horrible partner with 100 bodies. The bodies is not what determines whether she's going to be a good committed partner or not. Quite frankly, men who focus on past partners typically have low self-esteem. There is a fear of being compared to past partners. There's a fear of measuring up to past partners. And there's this constant need for reassurance. Instead of focusing on past partners, what the guy should be doing is collecting data. Getting to know this woman over time to see if this person fits into their life. Are they trustworthy? Are they honest? Are they ambitious? Are they nurturing? You find that out over time, not by looking at a person's past partners.
You know, I don't know why. And I think one of the reasons that, you know, it doesn't really matter the age, men kind of like, they check out of dating because they have to ask the same question over and over again. Okay, there was a clip, I think it's called The Mantastic Experience. The man just kept on asking her, at one point in time, what point in time are you going to be generous to your man. When should you be generous? Well, I bring a lot to the relationship, this and that. If I go to a party with my man or something like that, promotions are coming. You're not, in a lot of situations, you're not going to be going to the party until maybe like a year or so down the road. A lot of men, they're not going to bring you to the party like that. You know what I mean? Unless they're in a committed relationship with you. Because I'd have to get to know you, and I'd have to, trust you to be around my friends. I'd have to vet you first. The men that y'all are looking for have built up a certain network of people, whether it be a man or a woman, or men or women, both. There's a mixture. And so they have a lot of connections. And so they're not just going to want somebody to come in talking crazy. And so they're going to vet you first, right? And you'll be surprised at the speed that they can vet you and say, nice person, but not for me, right? So we got to know a little bit more about, aside from you, and I appreciate you going to these parties and getting me that promotion. But even before we get there, we have to know a little bit more about if you're going to be generous, if you're going to give back to your man. Men keep on asking the same question, and we get the runaround. So men are continuing to ask that question over and over again with fervency. What should we expect to receive? What should we expect to get? We're not getting an answer, right? And then I think the man said, besides intimacy, what should we expect? And what she put in there at the end was like, well, when I was with my man, I used to have a pole in the house. Once again, like we said, besides that, what should a man be expecting? Well, I can get you this is, even before we get there, in order to verify that this is coming down the road, this is something that you could possibly do, what should we expect in terms of you reciprocating? You're old enough to know what I'm talking about.